Good morning. Welcome to the Meristem Minute. This morning, we have special guest, Chris Thrasher, with us. He is the Product Development and Innovation Specialist with Meristem. He is going to share some key points and value propositions on residue breakdown. So, with that, Chris, take it away.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you for having me on today. This is one of those products that I really get excited talking about. I often refer to excavator as one of the best kept secrets that we have at Meristem and makes us, the company we are today. But I wanted to start off by talking about what is excavator, what is microbialized, because there's a lot of confusion sometimes on what is excavator. So excavator is basically a very aggressive consortium of microbes that we put into the product. These microbes are specifically selected to be cellulose digesters. When you think about cellulose, you think about lignin and some of these other things. But when we talk about crop residue, which this falls into that product offering as a crop residue management product, really our goal is to break down that stover that's left over from the previous cash crop. But when you think about these microbes, I ask people sometimes to think about like Drano in your house. You think about what is Drano? A lot of people don't realize that Drano is the same type of microbes that you put into if you live in a county or in a rural area. You have a septic system where you put it in there to break down those solids. Well, we're doing the same thing here, but what's really exciting about when we break down these solids in the field is what's inside those, and that's valuable nutrients that the crop has left over. So that's what excavator is. It's just a really robust consortium. It's got specific strains that we selected for those macronutrients that we really generally focus on when we talk about crop nutrient management. But we also have microbialized. Now, microbialized is the surfactant base that we have that's coupled with the microbes. And this is another patented product that we have from Joe Janowski. Been in the industry forever. I love working with Joe. He's so excited about adjuvants and these type of products. But what that helps us do is to get coverage. There again, with these little tiny microbes that we're putting on the field, they're not swimmers. They don't swim around, looking for something to eat. They have to be translocated into the residue. So that's the reason we use microbialize is to help us get that coverage on the acre. And this year we added a new component to excavator. We have excavator, now we have excavator AMS. So we added ammonium sulfate. That ammonium sulfate is commonly known as a water conditioner. Most of you probably use those with herbicides to make sure that you're getting penetration or coverage with those herbicides. We're doing the same thing with AMS. We're wanting that penetration into that cellulose material that's left on the field that we're trying to get inside of. So that's what excavator AMS is. And the reason I'm so excited about these type of products is very seldom in my career in agriculture have I've got to work with products that really make a difference if used properly. Now, I use that really cautiously when used properly. There's a lot of times that, when we, from a product development standpoint, Melanie and all of our commercial leaders in the company, they look at, hey, where are we successful? Where are we going to win? What is the return on this? Well, me, from an innovation standpoint, I kind of fine tune and look at those instances where we don't succeed. And that's when we start putting in innovation into our products is, excavator today is not what excavator was 3 years ago. Excavator tomorrow is going to be completely different than what we offer today. Like I said earlier, these are one of the key products that we have in our portfolio. And when you look at Meristem, our number one goal is to eliminate cost to the acre. So when we talk about one of the keys for developing a product like excavator, we look at how do we reduce that cost per acre for the grower. And really that's by capturing those nutrients. You know, Even though this is a crop residue management product, we don't call it that. We call it a nutrient management product. We call this a fertilizer spin. because we know how much nutrients is left over, especially if you had a good year. But now when we're pushing 300 plus bushel yields on corn, specifically, we know there's a lot of nutrients that's went into developing those big plants. And even some of these hybrids we have today, um, I hear some of the growers talking about the stalk slapping the cab of the combine. That's a tall plant, 12-foot height and plant. That's a lot of biomass that's laying there on the ground. So we know there's a lot of nutrients. We know we need to get rid of that to make planting easier in the following year. But th those are things that we look at from an innovation standpoint. Um, Melanie, another thing that I want to spend a little bit of time on outside of nutrient capture is as we look at the evolution of our product, we also look at some other key benefits that we must address, and that is reducing disease pressure. I do a lot of studying on number one, what kind of diseases can we control with our future lineup? But we look at those that's really economically impacting the acre. And one specifically right now is tar spot. Tar spot is a really aggressive, it's spreading outside the north, it's coming into the heart of the Corn Belt. And we know that tar spot can harbor in residue for up to 2 years. So, when we look at eliminating residue, we're not only capturing more nutrients, but we're also reducing that ability for some of these diseases to harbor from year to year. So I think that's another real key benefit that we look at when we eliminate that overall cost per acre to the American farmer.
So, Chris, when we think about excavator and excavator AMS, talk to us about the use rate.
Adding in that AMS, it does add some bulk to the product, and it drastically changes what a gallon of product will cover. So 12.8 ounces with the regular excavator, and then 32 ounces with the excavator AMS. Now, what's key is we're still getting that full excavator load. We're not sacrificing the concentration, the number of microbes we're delivering. We're truly adding the AMS to the current excavator. But
So what I'm
Melanie,
hearing, Chris, is that you're not only getting excavator, but you're getting your complete water conditioning package. So
correct.
if you're adding this to a burn down component, whether that be fall or spring, you're
Yes.
getting a dual purpose product.
Yes, you're getting a dual purpose product. You're getting, well, actually, a three. You're also getting the adjuvant component of the microbialize. I've had to stick my hand in this product before I dropped something in there in a jug, so I was trying to retrieve it. And I'm gonna tell you, this stuff has got some really good adjuvant to it. So whatever Joe put in this patented microbialized delivery system, it's some good stuff. So it's a really top quality adjuvant, and then you get the water conditioner, and of course the microbe of the excavator bugs to break down that residue for the spring spin. So yeah, I would call it a triple threat versus a dual threat when it comes to spring application.
So, Chris, you also brought up concentration. So, just because the rate structure changes, the
Mhm.
concentration stays the same. And so, talk to us a little bit about the number of microbes that can be found in these products, because that really has been a foundational piece or key strengths of the excavator lineup versus some competitive products.
Right. So, the biological companies, they get into the who's got the most bugs. And that's really important, but also what's more important is getting coverage on the field. And that's the reason the microbialize is so important for us is, you can have three times as many microbes, but if you don't get to coverage, you don't get the penetration into the cellulose material, it's really all in vain. Like I said earlier, these are not swimmers. They don't go out and, when you think of a microbe, it floating around. Well, that's right. They float. So that means they don't move on their own. They have to be translocated. So it's really about coverage. Um, today we really encourage that we put excavator and AMS ahead of a rain event. excuse me, because the rain helps to spread the product easier. But what we're working on now, excuse me, is we're working on that next generation of excavator. The next generation of excavator actually reached out across into another industry. And, we're working with some companies to see how we can get better penetration without a rain event. So we've isolated some really nice technology that we're testing today. We're asking our sales leaders to take a look at before we release it into the marketplace. But we're looking at some new things to kind of help these little tiny microbes. Like I said, if you want to talk billions or trillions, it's all about coverage. And our concentrations are above, I'd say, what the industry standard are. But at the end of the day, it's all about how you deliver those and are they alive when they get there. So another big thing, just kind of a teaser for everyone, is um, you may see excavator in the future in a biocapsule. So, when you start thinking about putting excavator into a biocapsule and then putting it on top of the microbialized product and the AMS, all that's going to do is deliver more technology to the field and give Meristem customers a huge advantage over those competitive products in the marketplace.
Just got done with Chris Thrasher getting great information about excavator and excavator AMS. And now joining us is Izaak Rathke. So Izaak brings really boots on the ground experience with excavator. And so Izaak, share with us what you've seen out in the field.
Morning, Mel. Yeah, I've done extensive research on this product. With a local farmer, we partnered up and hired some outside sources and really wanted to get down to business on this product. And, we knew what it did. We know it breaks down residue. We know it releases nutrients, but we didn't know timings and we didn't know when that nutrient release was. So that was a big part of our testing to find that out. So basically what we found was under irrigation, we found that the nutrients released every single time between 45 and 60 days. So we tested NPK, micros, everything, and everything released between that 45 and 60 days. And on the macros, what we found was every time we've tested this, it's came back basically at 10, 30, 30. Sometimes you'll get a little bit higher, sometimes you'll get just under that, but our average has been 10, 30, 30 across the board. Meaning in your stover, in your fields, you are releasing equivalent to 100 pounds of 10, 30, 30 by using this application on your corn stalks. We've also tested this on soybean stubble, and basically we got half that. So 5, 15. So basically on soybeans, we have done the research as well, and we've basically, you get about half of the nutrients. So if you're getting 10, 30, 30, we're getting 10, 15, 15. Again, sometimes that's higher, sometimes it's lower, but it's always between that 45 and 60 days. Now that's under irrigation. So if you are in a dry land situation, in a normal, whatever that means anymore, a normal year of moisture, it would be very similar to that. If you were drier, it's going to take a little bit longer, but that nutrient value is in your residue. And we brought this product out as a residue breakdown product to help with heavy trash situations. I shouldn't say trash, residue, sorry. Heavy residue situations in the field, causing planter problems, different things like that, tillage problems, insect problems, disease problems. And we're trying to lower that residue in the fields. And we've learned so much more about this product since doing these tests. Now we have exactly what it releases in a corn situation, when it releases, the 45 to 60 days. We have found that it helps with white mold in the field on soybean crop, helps with insects, helps with seed corn maggots, helps with, basically every insect that would overwinter in the corn stubble because you're eating that pith out and there's nothing there. By the time you get spring comes around, all that's there is the shell of the pith and it's very manageable. The planters go right through it, tillage equipment goes right through it. You're not plugging tillage equipment, you're not plugging planters, you're sailing right through that stuff, which in turn is getting you, what we've seen is 8 to 12,000 plants per acre, which is where you start to get some yield brought back into the system.
So
So,
Isaac, I've heard you talk about the breakdown of residue from a, you know, really about controlling residue. But then I also heard you talk about nutrients. So when is your key timing of application?
so there's two timings, key timings. What we always did when we brought this product out is we always wanted it out in the fall. We love it in the fall, especially for farmers that are in no-till or minimal till situations where they are having like a huge problem with trash, in the fields. That is definitely a fall application. If you want to break that trash down, you're still gonna get the nutrient release. You're gonna get it early. So that nutrient release will obviously still be there, but it'll be there in the spring. So basically at planting. When this product first came out and hopper throttle was coming out, this was our plan. We were going to put excavator out in the fall. We were going to break down the nutrients. We were going to run hopper throttle in the spring, and we were going to use up those nutrients with the hopper throttle solubilizers, etc. Well, since researching this product more and more and more, we have found that spring application is just as amazing. And me personally, I like spring application better if we're not in a heavy residue area. And the reason I like it better is because when you're running out of gas in your corn crop or your soybean crop or any crop, it's usually about that July timeframe. Your fertilizers are running out, they're leached out. Well, that's about when you're going to get this nutrient release from excavator. So you can just piggyback it right in with your pre-application. You don't have to make another trip, and it's out there. And when you're running out of gas, that nutrient value is going to come in right at the right time and feed your plants.
Excellent. Thank you for your information, Isaac. Value the boots on the ground perspective. And with that, that is your Meristem Minute.